warm welcome to all of you. Welcome back after the tea break. We are off to the next session for the day, which is off-grid or microgrid. So this session will focus on role of microgrid in rural electrification, role of microgrid in critical infrastructure, and some case studies. The moderator for this session will be Mr. Shirish Gadu, Senior Fellow and Associate Director, Energy Environment Technology Development Division of TERI. Having more than 2 decades of experience in renewable energy sector, he is a well-known specialist in renewable energy technologies, energy planning, and renewable energy policy studies. Our next speaker is Colonel C.P.S. Pasricha. Colonel Pasricha was commissioned in the Indian Army in 1988. He has been an instructor at National Defence Academy and held staff appointments in Formation Headquarters. He has been awarded the Vishesh Seva Medal by the President of India for distinguished services during operations. Our next speaker is Mr. John Bassett. Mr. John Bassett is the Principal Electrical Engineer at Selco Foundation, working on the technology aspects of energy service design for underserved communities in India. And lastly, we have with us Dr. Abhishek Somani. Abhishek is a scientist at Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. He is an expert in issues related to electricity markets and smart grid. He has been a part of PNNL teams conducting the 2 largest smart grid demonstration projects in the US. So with that, we start off this session. Off to you, Mr. Guru.
Assist in establishing microgrid projects or better projects with the help of the industry and financial institutions. We have a number of US Army advanced grid projects and tactical microgrids. Now, a word about the advanced grid projects. There are over 28 microgrids that have been established in Afghanistan. This has saved nearly 50 million gallons of fuel annually. And this is equivalent to removing 20,000 trucks or equivalent to 55 long big trucks transporting fuel or reducing about 1,900 generators. There are military infrastructure bases that have been tested with microgrids, a number of them. A few have been listed here. The first test bed was in Fort Bliss, which has a microgrid demonstration project of 120 kilowatts of PV and a 300 kilowatt storage system, energy storage system. Besides this, they have developed quick setting mobile microgrids, which can be containerized, modular, and could be taken, loaded on vehicles, taken to places and quickly established. These are very, very helpful infrastructural microgrids in case of a fluid battlefield. Microgrids in the country, we all know, sustain growing population, expectation of a high GDP. Our solution is off-grid generation. It has been covered by various speakers in the last 2 days. We have to augment renewable energy by smart and microgrid technology. If we have to provide electricity to 54,000 villages and over 400 million people, microgrids is one of the solutions, or distributed energy. Besides this, the Solar India, that is the National Solar Mission, which has an ambitious plan of 20 gigawatts of grid power connectivity and 2 gigawatts of off-grid capacity. Enabling environment can only be set up with the help of microgrids. And as for some IEEE reports, the Zyper report, Zycling report, the major users of microgrids, the main investment on microgrids would be the healthcare, and second would be the military. The investment potential as per the Navigant research in Asia Pacific region by 2023 is going to be something like $31 billion. That is the huge potential. Benefits, as I said, increased reliability at overall cost. Every kilowatt of energy produced by PV or the wind energy system will require that much less diesel or kerosene transported by helicopters or the logistic columns. As was covered by David earlier, raw infrastructure requirement, if you have a microgrid within the 4 walls of an installation, you don't require the transmission, distribution, and the allied transmission losses. You have grid efficiency, you integrate renewable energy sources, energy security is ensured by off-grid capability and on-site generation. sustainability by having a lesser carbon footprint, and the killer application of microgrids in the army would be isolated locations, which remain isolated for months altogether. Way ahead, we must have an operational energy policy in the Ministry of Defence. This could be as a takeoff point from the conference that we are having today, or one of the recommendations that can go from here. That we must have an operational energy policy that guides us in the use of energy resources to support our national goals and aims, security aims. We must have in the armed forces an energy task force as an advisory body. Besides this task force will also implement, test and design certain test beds in the remote areas in the northeast and in other areas. We must encourage research, design projects in collaboration with the industry and the technical institutes. And in short, in Army we must have these microgrids. Presently we don't have any need in Army. At the end, what I'd like to say is that there is no set-piece solution for the energy needs for any military installation. Every installation will have its own critical requirements. However, there is a need to migrate from these other sources, grid-connected sources, to a better, flexible and a more efficient energy source. We need to absorb, as the technology is improving, it is becoming more and more affordable. New designs are emerging, both technology and business models. We need to absorb these new designs. We need to focus on the microgrids for the... I have finished. Is there any questions? Intend to do today is cover the aspects within the four walls of an army infrastructure installation. With this as the background, I shall cover my presentation in the following heads, that is the present system of energy supply that we have in the operational areas, certain developments in the world armies, what we require, microgrids in the country, the benefits and the way ahead, and finally the conclusion. The present system that we have is aging, and the transmission system requires an overhaul to the military bases, especially the remote bases. We have certain isolated posts that remain cut off for a period of over 6 months. So we have to stock up kerosene at places. We have to deliver kerosene, diesel by air, by helicopters, sorries. That is very, very expensive. And we have very limited sources of energy because at places we are just staying in snow-bound areas. Besides this, the current contingency that we have for critical applications, we have dedicated engines and generators. Again, the reliability is low. We have no flexibility and no adaptability. Besides this, we have a few renewable energy sources thrown around. Wherever the army is deployed, generally we have things like micro-hydro projects or some other small projects. But they are all standalone. They are not integrated. The solar projects are not integrated. They are standalone. As I said, we are highly vulnerable to outages, primarily because of severe weather conditions. We are operating in deserts. We are operating in high altitude areas, snow-bound areas, glaciated areas, and our efficiency is very, very low. The impact is we have reduced mission readiness, reduced reaction time, sustainability, and reduced security. Now, a few photographs of the cases where we are operating. Now, here, what we do is we are also laying pipelines, kerosene pipelines to snow-bound areas. We have the PV cells in places in Ladakh and all those border areas. One of the major uses along the borders is the line of control fence. We have a land border of about 15,000 kilometers with 7 countries. It's huge, and we have our posts, maybe 1-2 posts every kilometer. You can imagine the number of posts that we have and our energy requirement. Border fence takes up one major chunk of our energy source. Now, why do we need a better system? One is, as I said, we are the major users of electricity in energy in the remote areas. We have a huge dependency on fossil fuel. At times, we need pipe supply or we need hectares to drop it. We have our sources, but renewable energy sources, but they are not integrated. We need to reduce our funding on consumption of energy, that is fossil fuel. Overall, we need to improve the security, flexibility, efficiency, especially for mission critical bases. Now I just highlight certain events or happenings in this world which has compelled various armies to take up microgrids as a long-term solution. Now these are reports which are available on the net. A single soldier in Afghanistan uses 22 gallons of fuel per day, and delivering each gallon takes about $300 to $400. If you see an overall base, fueling a base generator's requirement will cost approximately 34 million per year. That is the huge cost. And because of this, the Department of Defense in the US Army has taken up the case to reduce, as a challenge, to reduce the energy consumption in the bases. Therefore, it also, the other intangible cost of delivering energy to such places has been over 1,000 people have lost their lives maintaining these convoys, maintaining these logistics. The Department of Defense has taken out an operational energy strategy. This is a guideline that gives out the use of energy, better use of energy based on the national energy policy. They've also taken out the Army, they have organized an Army Energy Initiative Task Force. This is an organization that integrates and assists in establishing microgrid projects or better projects with the help of the industry and financial institutions. We have a number of US Army advanced grid projects and tactical microgrids. Now, a word about the advanced grid projects. There are over 28 microgrids that have been established in Afghanistan. This has saved nearly 50 million gallons of fuel annually. And this is equivalent to removing 20,000 trucks or equivalent to 55 long big trucks transporting fuel or reducing about 1,900 generators. There are military infrastructure bases that have been tested with microgrids, a number of them. A few have been listed here. The first test bed was in Fort Bliss, which has a microgrid demonstration project of 120 kilowatts of PV and a 300 kilowatt storage system, energy storage system. Besides this, they have developed quick setting mobile microgrids which can be containerized, modular, and could be taken, loaded on vehicles, taken to places and quickly established. These are very, very helpful infrastructural microgrids in case of a fluid battlefield. Microgrids in the country, we all know, sustain growing population, expectation of a high GDP. Our solution is off-grid generation. It has been covered by various speakers in the last 2 days. We have to augment renewable energy by smart and microgrid technology. If we have to provide electricity to 54,000 villages and over 400 million people, microgrids is one of the solutions, or distributed energy. Besides this, the Solar India, that is the National Solar Mission, which has an ambitious plan of 20 gigawatts of grid power connectivity and 2 gigawatts of off-grid capacity. Enabling environment can only be set up with the help of microgrids. And as per some IEEE reports, the Zyper report, the major users of microgrids, the main investment on microgrids would be the healthcare, and second would be the military. The investment potential as per the Navigant research in Asia Pacific region by 2023 is going to be something like $31 billion. That is the huge potential. Benefits, as I said, increased reliability at overall cost. Every kilowatt of energy produced by PV or the wind energy system will require that much less diesel or kerosene transported by helicopters or the logistic columns. As was covered by David earlier, lower infrastructure requirement. If you have a microgrid within the four walls of an installation, you don't require the transmission, distribution, and the allied transmission losses. You have grid efficiency, you integrate renewable energy sources, energy security is ensured by off-grid capability and on-site generation. Sustainability by having a lesser carbon footprint, and the killer application of microgrids in the army would be isolated locations, which remain isolated for months altogether. must have an operational energy policy in the Ministry of Defense. This could be as a takeoff point from the conference that we're having today, or one of the recommendations that can go from here. That we must have an operational energy policy that guides us in the use of energy resources to support our national goals and aims, security aims. We must have in the Armed Forces an energy task force as an advisory body. Besides this task force should also implement, test and design certain test beds in the remote areas in the northeast and in other areas. We must encourage research, design projects in collaboration with the industry and the technical institutes. And in short, in Army we must have these microgrids. Presently we don't have any in the Indian Army. At the end, what I'd like to say is that there is no set-piece solution for the energy needs for any military installation. Every installation will have its own critical requirements. However, there is a need to migrate from these other sources, grid-connected sources, to a better, flexible and a more efficient energy source. We need to absorb, as the technology is improving, it is becoming more and more affordable. New designs are emerging, both technology and business models. We need to absorb these new designs. We need to focus on the microgrids for the... I have finished. Is there any questions?
We will take up the question answer sessions later. May I request the speaker, John from Selco Foundation, and as you all know, Selco has been doing pioneering work in promoting specifically solar systems and solar microgrids in rural villages, and this experience will be very useful.
Hi, I'm John. I've been working in Bangalore for the Selco Foundation for the last 2 years. I'll give a quick background on Selco. So we started as a private limited company 20 years back, and we started doing solar home systems for rural customers in villages which don't have access to grid. And on top of that, then very expensive solar technology, which was also very unfashionable and difficult to access. We built a business model which provided these services to these rural customers, which are difficult to reach. So now we have 180,000 customers. We're based mainly in Karnataka. We have about 40 branches. In other parts of India as well, we have some branches. We started doing solar home systems, which are small systems for each house, DC, very energy efficient. We provide lighting, TV, fans. We're also doing now inverter systems for schools, hospitals, institutions, and we're doing some solar pumping as well. I think the key part of our approach was we wanted to prove that poor people could afford renewable energy, they could afford to maintain those systems, and that we could build a sustainable business model on providing services to these customers. So the Selco Foundation is a group which is set up to research new technologies, new business models coming into the market, and to try and bring those to these customers. I think that storage is now at a position, perhaps solar was a few years back, where it's expensive, but it's showing promise. And I think you can still build models on top of this expensive technology, which reaches these customers as well. Right. So this is the problem statement. There's a huge need for expansion of the energy services in unelectrified areas. There's 32,000 unelectrified villages is the official number. Obviously, it's a lot more if you count the uncounted houses in the census. And the current system is not working. There's huge subsidy going into the discoms. They're still in a bad financial state. There's power theft. There's inefficient connections, and we need to think of other solutions. And I think distributed renewable energy is one solution. We've proven it over the last 20 years, and you have new companies coming in which they're reaching a lot more scale than we are in the time that we have, because the technology has changed. It's become cheaper. We've got access to mobile technology, which is mobile payment. So there's new models coming out which can achieve scale maybe quicker than we could we could have done in the last 10 years or so. So, yeah, distributed renewable energy provides immediate access to energy. You don't have to extend the grid to a remote area to provide service then. It encourages energy efficiency. So you have all these policies coming out, for example, trying to encourage LED usage in houses or CFL usage, but actually if you go to these houses you'll find an incandescent bulb, an LED bulb and a CFL bulb next to each other. So I think it's not really working out. And distributed renewable energy, if you're linking generation with consumption, you have to bring energy efficiency. It makes financial sense to the end user. And also adds generation capacity. So we don't have to think in grid scale things, we can also think per household. And it's been proven in Germany, we've also proven it here as well with our solar home systems, we're adding capacity. So there are a variety of options, microgrids is one of them. And the role of storage in each of these systems is different. So solar home systems, it actually makes the most sense because of the cost. But if you're looking at solar pumps or cold storage or powering livelihoods from renewable energy, then you can look at capacitor storage, you can look at thermal storage, and then microgrids is when you start bringing in these large scale things. And you've got to think about which business models fit which situations. So you have to understand first the need. You can't just say microgrids are the solution to every need. Then you have to understand the options. Is it best to install a solar pump linked to a microgrid, or is it best to install just a solar pump by itself plus solar home systems, this kind of thing. And yeah, you've got to match the options to the need. So on particular microgrids, I'm just going to try and take you through the benefits for these rural areas and for villages. There are particular attributes of microgrids. So microgrids are just a connection of things together, nothing more than that. So that means power that can flow between the systems. It means there's no particular generator for a load, and it means a bulk asset for a number of users. And I'll take you through some examples of benefits and barriers which are generated by each of these three attributes. So for example, power can flow between systems means that you can reduce the sizing of that system. You can use offsetable loads, so you can pump water during the daytime and oversize your solar capacity so that during, say, monsoon season when your solar is less, you can pump less water because you've also got rain coming. And it makes a lot more sense, you can reduce your storage capacity. But it means you need to have some metering and control. And currently that's very expensive and not particularly accessible for these markets. We're working with partners to try and develop metering solutions, but we have some way to go. Yeah, no particular generator for a load. So the benefit of this is you don't have to finance a single end user. So you can provide a system for a village, and that can reach the poorest people in that village as well as the more well-off people. And perhaps you can have some kind of cross-subsidy there coming in. And that's also important for unpredictable income patterns. So our business model is built on providing a loan for the system with a bank. But what if that customer doesn't have a predictable income pattern, they can't get a loan? Can we do like a prepaid type of system? But the barrier which is brought up is then who owns the system? And do you have insurance and maintenance in the long term? All these issues you have to think about. And the bulk asset, sorry, it's not well. So you can, maybe it's more attractive to feed into the grid. Maybe it's easier to integrate your mini grids with the grid. Of course, that can be questioned because solar home systems also offset load use from the grid, so you shouldn't neglect that. But that means you have to get cohesion with the community, and this is a very big challenge in these areas. Yeah, so what's this about? Yeah, so the point is you should think about when you're going to a solution, going to a place, what solutions make most sense. What benefits are brought up by microgrids, what barriers are brought up by microgrids, and when does that suit a particular situation. I'll take you through some examples that we've done next. And also guides research and development. So if you're interested, I have a list of what we've put together of the particular barriers which are existing. And there'll be some technology barriers which I'll highlight in a second. And that should be guiding the research. If these markets are to be accessed, which they're quite big numbers of consumers, we need to guide the research towards these areas. And also what policies should be set up to facilitate this these kind of systems. So our first mini-grid was in a labour camp in Mangalore. So you can see the shading throughout the site. So we couldn't put up individual systems for each house. So then a centralised system is obviously the best solution. Now one barrier of microgrids is you have to have collections. And we overcame that barrier at this site because there was a landlord who we used for collections. So the point is you understand the different barriers and benefits and you try to match the particular application situation to those and overcome. So this system is very small, it's 1.2 kilowatts, it's a DC 96 volt transmission. We have there's 75 houses, 15 of them have TVs and fans. This other one was a 40-house village called Nilakantala Nagadi. I can't pronounce it very well. It's near to Yazdir in Karnataka, in northern last state. So there, one benefit of microgrids is you can link in remote monitoring. It makes it far more economical. You couldn't do that on a solar home system scale at a low cost. So it brings in it's a single asset, it's easy to monitor, it's easy to maintain. And this particular village is cut off 5 months of the year because the river around the village floods and it becomes an island. So again, we had barriers with community agreement, barriers with collections, and that was overcome by using a quite influential business associate in the area who owned a number of businesses, and he could overcome these barriers for us. So you see, in both these situations, there are very different social faces, social factors you have to consider. And it's very important not to just have a single model which you can replicate across the whole area. You have to be able to adapt that to the different situations. I think this is the key part of building a simple model is being able to adapt. So just a number of technology barriers which we've highlighted. So one is to be able to adapt to the system, you have to customize your design for each. And this takes time, and often the companies doing off-grid systems don't have a very large in-house technical expertise. So can we have some tools and processes to help design? And how do you even understand the needs? The needs assessment is very difficult in these areas. Another one is inefficient load. So if you look at this lighting as an example, LED is half the power of CFL, which means you save half the cost of the system. And rather than thinking about bringing down the cost of generation and storage, when you think about changing loads. Because people care more about the service, not about the per unit rate. They don't think, I want this many electrons, they think, I want lights, I want a fan, I want a TV, I want to be able to run a rice mill or a pump. So if you can bring in efficient loads, you can reduce your cost of generation, and it makes your whole business case a lot better. And there's a lot of work that can be done in productive use and bringing efficiency into that. And the other one I mentioned before is metering and control is very expensive. We don't need a complicated solution, we just need load limiters, something like that. And some way of maybe controlling how to use a pump together with a mini grid. It doesn't have to be complicated, it just has to be accessible, serviceable, and for single need. And then the last one I put is expensive storage generation, which I guess is the topic of this conference anyway, so I don't have to explain that. So just a couple of key points which I wanted to highlight. One is the problems of reaching these rural areas are that you need to provide servicing, maintenance, you need to provide financing, and if you can build a model which does these, then you can access. It doesn't matter if the technology is expensive, we proved it with solar 20 years ago when it was very expensive, but they can afford this. And we can do the same with generation technologies if we build the right models around it. Another one is that we're very happy to test out different technologies and to pilot anything which anyone has that they want to present. The foundation is built to do these things. So please get in contact if you'd like to. And the third point is we have a clean energy access network which we is a network of similar organizations which have come together to try and bring new technologies, to bring policy interventions. And I think if you want to access these markets, then it's please get in contact and I can link you up with that network and you can see how your products can get it. Okay, thanks for your time.
May I request now Ushet Samani to share his experiences.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Akshay Samani from Pacific Northwest National Lab. I'm a research economist, so I'm not an engineer. I wasn't part of the team which did this project. But I can connect you with the relevant people if there are comments or questions. So basically what I'm going to be presenting today is a project that came out with Pacific Northwest National Lab. We did with the U.S. Army's Logistics Innovation Agency. And this was done to evaluate and demonstrate the effectiveness of smart and green energy commercially available off-the-shelf technologies. And this was basically as this reach out. That was a good precursor for my presentation, by the way. So in 2009, Army's Senior Energy Council issued an energy security implementation strategy that included 5 strategic security goals. First one was to reduce energy consumption. Second one was to increase energy efficiency across different platforms and facilities, so the Army bases and such. Third one was to increase the use of renewable and alternate energy sources. The fourth one was to assure secure supply of energy. And finally, the final goal was to reduce the adverse impacts on the environment. So this project came about in response to the challenges there by the Army. So and the results showed the microgrid that was installed, smart microgrids and the other technology that were installed as part of the project, showed that there were anywhere from 54 to 70% or 80% reduction in fuel costs in these Army bases, both in actual demonstration and simulation work that came about later on. So here's a few of the technologies that were installed and demonstrated in a holistic and integrated manner as part of this project. So there was a smart microgrid which obviously has the potential to generate electric power more reliably and less fuel consumption as compared to spot generators and standalone generators which are not coordinated. Then the addition of energy storage technology enabled further increase in the power quality and reliability, both during the negative and in the aggregate manner. Finally, we had the renewable energy technologies, which were solar hot water and a couple of PV areas on this very good demonstration set. I'll just show you the map of the actual base, the operating base where where all these steps were done. So what I just mentioned was the supply side. There was also the demand side, which was taken care of. An efficient energy management system. This was a proprietary system. This wasn't a proprietary system. This was developed by PNL, and as well as efficient energy efficient buildings, or in place of uninsulated tanks, which were used prior to the demonstration. So this is the actual base camp. This is in Fort Devens, Massachusetts, and this particular operating base, the base camp, houses about 300 soldiers. So there's a south camp, there's a north camp, and the north is above the demarcation line, and that's where all the demonstration demonstration, all these equipment were deployed. And the South Camp then offered a convenient to control for doing the experiments. So, as I mentioned, the solar hot water, the microgrid and the battery, the shelters, the more energy efficient modular hardwood shelters instead of the slate shelters, as well as the PV areas that were installed. So this shows the generation and distribution technology which was installed. So this was all commercially available off the shelf, as I mentioned. There were 3 Caterpillar generators, 100 kilowatt generators, which were coupled. So they were coupled in a manner which allowed them to share the load. So instead of having a small generator which would be serving the load that it's connected to, and which could lead to more inefficient use of the generators, but by coupling this and having and enabling load sharing between the generators, this allowed for more efficient use of the combination of these generators. And for the sake of demonstration, the legacy system, which was a 60 kilowatt generator, that was still kept in place to show that the diverse range of technologies which could still be operating under this proprietary control system, and the communication system, which controlled the overall operations of the genset. And there were 2 PV areas, 6.5, 6.5 kilowatt PV areas each, and smart micro inverters and connected to each of those panels. This is a battery system which was installed and deployed in the demonstration. This was a 100 kilowatt, I believe 200 kilowatt hour battery system, and this was used in conjunction with the generators and the PVIs. I'm not sure what this is. So, I was just handed over the slide deck last week. This is the smart inverter control system. And so, as I mentioned, these are the batteries, which were the battery system. This was a 100 kilowatt, 200 kilowatt hour battery system, and simple lead acid just was used to keep the cost down and do the proof of concept, proof of principle with the cheap technology. So, as I mentioned, battery control, the system managed the battery generation and charging to maintain the generators at an optimal and efficient operating range, which was mainly instrumental for the fuel savings that were achieved through these all the deployments. That's the design of the microgrid itself. I'm not qualified enough to go into the details of all of this. But the important thing is this design can be scaled up to a larger system. So this was the whole development side it has sources, but this microgrid can be scaled up to 600 soldier base camp or 5,000 soldier base camp as well. So the difference between the baseline technologies is, as I mentioned before, the use of the smart microgrid, PV areas, the energy efficient shelters for the soldiers, and the battery system and such. So I'm not getting into more details of already mentioned this in the past. So this was a dashboard for the overall the energy management system which was in place, which could control the electrical load as well as the thermostats in the buildings, and also help control with the other equipment on the base camp as well. So this was developed as part of the project by my PNL colleagues. That's dashboard for microgrid itself. So the meat of the presentation is the results. So basically, by installing all of the technologies and deploying all of these technologies, they find an annual fuel savings ranging from 50 to 80%, so depending on the size of the base camp. The 80% was achieved in the lower occupancy base camps. So if you, and there are different combinations of technologies used, and the table lists out the fuel savings that are achieved by different combinations of the technologies used. So the highest fuel savings was achieved when all the technologies were deployed and managed and coordinated in an integrated manner. So to sum up, the results that we obtained from this demonstration were then used to model the simulations for similar base camps across the globe, and the results were pretty similar across the board. So the overall savings was in the range of 50 to 80% range. There are reports. The report on this project is publicly available, and I'll be happy to share that with anyone who's interested.
We had very interesting presentations. First one definitely looked at the Indian Defence Forces environment and the challenges that face, like from hot desert areas to snow-bound areas and isolated. And when there was a good example of how the US is tackling these issues, microgrid solutions, particularly with battery storage and photovoltaics integrated with it, and also having mobile microgrids. I think that is one of the areas one definitely must look at, both from defense purpose and also for disaster management. Absolutely. That's where immediately requirement is for electricity for lighting or for water purification and communications. So there are definitely challenges which technologies and companies can take up from these two. And very, Selco has been doing a lot of, activity in rural areas, and interesting way they have brought out the challenges and barriers, particularly benefits and barriers for setting up these microgrids in social environment, where you have challenges of society, cohesion between the users or the response of users and managing the grid or microgrids more efficiently. So I believe we had very good experience sharing by the three speakers today. Now I will throw this session open for any questions. Please be brief because we would like to take as many questions as possible. If you have comments, just briefly give the comment and give the question very briefly and introduce yourself.
My name is Ghar Osman. I'm from the World Energy Association. I'm very much impressed with the quality of presentation, but it is one axis. There are another two axes which is called energy, food and water complexes. So isolated places, we don't live only with energy. Then we should have some greenhouses and we should have find sources, whether we desalinate water or we pump the fresh water and treat them. So a total solution would deal with energy, which is very well discussed and stored, and then water, and then in isolated sites and borders, how to grow food. So it is water, food, and the energy complex. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am Vikram Wada from Alstom Power. This is a question for Selco Foundation. I've heard in the recent times, especially for rural areas, there is now a provision of something called a renewable energy service company. So you could basically make, it's a new kind of financial structure, you can make a renewable energy service company where you can pool investor resources, you can collect money from whichever interested investors, and then it's especially for these microgrids and for rural areas. Do you have experience with these so-called RESCOs, and have you seen them to be financially viable? Because it was made to address the need of this, what you exactly pointed out about collecting financing together. Thanks.
Suzanne? Yeah. I mean, essentially, Selco is a renewable energy service company. We service the systems. I think when you start looking at collections as well, then currently there are some models which are achieving scale and are being proven. Irrigate Power is one example. Husk Power is another example. And they both face their own challenges. I think currently the market is very mature and lots of different models are coming out. So we're yet to really see what's going to happen. But the real challenge with these is, if you're doing lighting, it's fine, you have an assured market, people using kerosene, you can offset that. If you want to bring in other services, then you have to start thinking about how they can afford that. And the issue of things like livelihoods, for example, so there's talk of these companies also developing use for productive use so that they increase their income and they'd be able to pay more. The problem with that is to build the capacity and understanding of those, how to use energy for livelihoods is very difficult. So I think, yeah, these companies are coming out. The scale at which they can achieve certain objectives has to be defined, and what they find works out as we go.
So, hi, my name is Rahul Tonge. I'm a scholar with Brookings Institution and India Smart Grid Forum. So it's an open question, but maybe a friend from Telco can answer, because the military is such an outlier. Cost is not their bottleneck. But for the rest of us, yes, cost is a bottleneck. And so Selco has shown that the willingness to pay for a small number of kilowatt hours, they can afford solar. Solar is not expensive. And now the same question is being asked of storage systems. So just like for a AA battery or a laptop, I will pay a lot per kilowatt hour. But now if you try and say my entire house or community or factory needs to go on storage-based RE, then it's a different story. Have any of you seen any numbers that say, well, okay, I'm willing to pay this much for storage space for a little bit where there's most value, but then as I go towards 50% or 100% or larger quantums, how much lower that price is, or what premium over the quote-unquote traditional grid is acceptable? Is there any sense of that? It's a dangerous question, I know.
Yeah. You're talking more about rural areas or what?
So yes, you could segment it, absolutely. So yes, we're focusing on rural or remote or disconnected, where you don't have the grid on, because otherwise that's your easy benchmark.
So I guess one example I can maybe bring up, which may or may not answer the question, is we sell solar home systems to grid connected villages because their grid level is still so bad. And that shows a willingness to pay for another solution. Again, that's for lighting. I think because lighting is a very basic, easy to sell need, you need to start thinking about other things. So will that same willingness to pay match for, say, running a welding shop, for example? No one has proven that yet. I think if you look at other services being provided in lieu of the services which aren't matching up to the needs, then you can look at that.
Due to work, sir, what's about applying your microgrid, the critical distance from the normal grid? If it's 1,000 kilometers or 50 kilometers, did you make any calculation regarding when it will be most cost effective to go for microgrid. If it's 500 kilometers on the border, then it's okay. But in some cases, if the grid is nearby, then it's not cost effective. Do you work any charts regarding what is the critical distance, especially for the certain quality of energy, certain size of energy, and certain resources? There must be some chart to work out when it is the payback or when it is most economical to go for microgrids. Thank you.
I think actually we're at a very interesting point, because now this 24/7 power target has come out. We're looking at grid feeder separation as one very plausible solution. But what about these other solutions? And I think the role of storage needs to be worked out more, and you really should work out, because currently there'll be an overlap, right? There'll be obviously the very remote places where mini grids are more suitable, and obviously the places close to the grid where grid extension is more suitable. But if someone can work out and really battle to that middle ground, then you've got a bigger market. I think it's a very difficult question to answer, and people are looking at it.
There's another thing I'd also like to add on, is like we have remote locations in India where it takes about 7 days walk to reach that post. They're maintained by helicopters. And the thing is that we have the means of energy sources in place. We have the BE or basic revenue sets. We have certain critical installations with the energy storage systems. Presently, they're not integrated. Even if I want to run a laptop, I have a 30 kVA generator set. I tell that Farod, please switch on the 30 kVA generator set. It's absolute waste of energy. That energy could be supplied by maybe a small PV set, a small PV panel. What we need to do is, we have certain systems in place. We need to integrate them and make those controllers there, install those controllers there, so it can be efficiently used, efficiently operated. And it's not only the cost of, as was said, that cost is no issue, but yes, there is intangible cost of people losing their lives in transportation of energy. That is the most important thing. Value for life. So we need to take these into consideration before we start establishing microgrids.
I think we are running out of time, but one last.
Very simple or maybe a very complex question about the adaptability of new innovations in defense application. How quickly is defense willing to adopt new technology in their system? I'm really pointing at the red tape that I'm aware of, so I'm just kind of wondering as to what's your response on that?
In the Ministry of Defense, there's a procedure that is laid down for any kind of procurement or adaptation of new technologies. Initial start point is that it has to be demonstrated first, the technology, that yes, it has application in the army, it has value, it is going to lead to more benefits. Once the demonstration is accepted, thereafter the trials take place. Trials for that particular technology, because it has to be battle hardened. It has to be very robust. It has to operate on those extremities of temperature, weather, all those extremities. Thereafter the proposal go in and there's a proper procedure that follows, and the procedure takes a long time. That I have no control on. The procedure is time consuming.
I think we had a very interesting session and interesting dialogue with the audience also. With this, I think I will have to close the session now. Thank you, all of you, and also the speakers for a very interesting session. Thank you all.
Thank you all the speakers. We have round of applause. So by now I get to realize the sessions are so interesting that we always run out of time. From next conference onwards, we'll give much more time for all the sessions. But just to be on time, I'll directly, before moving on to the next session, as a token of appreciation, can we please have the gifts for our speakers? I'd like to call up Stephen. Dr. Abhishek Somani. Colonel CPS Pasricha, and Mr. John Bassett. A big thank you to all the speakers, and with that I move on to the next session for the day.